What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to show you guys how I made 18 times my money in the stock market today without even getting out of bed, baby. It was crazy. You guys know we posted the first stock trading simulator video the other day on YouTube, and they got a pretty good response. You guys seemed really interested. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about options. And if you don't know what an option is, or how they trade, or you don't even know about stocks, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. We're going to walk through it on the computer, and then we'll talk afterwards a little bit more about it and see how far you guys want to go with this. But let's hop over to the computer. I want to show you guys the power of options versus just trading normal stocks. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Picking up where we left off. This is the Investopedia game 2018 no end. You know, we had $100,000 to trade with. We spent 50 of it on ANET. We spent another 50,000 on JNPR. ANET started moving in our favor, like I said, a little bit quicker than I had previously expected, but what are you going to do? I'd rather be lucky than good. There was some sort of announcement they're being added into the S&P 500. That was enough to kind of break the range we were looking at in the previous video and get the stock moving a little bit. But as you can see, we spent $50,000 to make 6,410, or about a 13% increase in the price of the stock, which is not bad. You know, you make 13% in a week on your money. That's pretty great. But wouldn't it be better if you made 1,862% on your money in a week? Because that's exactly what I was able to do in the options market over here. So this is the stock we're looking at, ANET. I won't go back into, why we were buying ANET. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But, volatility contraction leads to expansion. We got the move, bada boom, bada bing. That's how we do it. But let's look at options and walk through this just a little bit more. First thing I have to explain just quickly, because I'll make more videos on this if you guys are interested in them. An option contract at its most basic level, and they can be very complex. The options market is a complex place, especially how they're priced and different strategies you can build around them. But on the surface, an option contract is an agreement between a buyer and a seller that gives the buyer a right but not an obligation to buy a certain number of shares of a particular stock at a certain price at a later date in the future. And the seller of that option contract has the obligation. They have to sell the buyer however many shares of the stock at a certain price at a later date. Now, it just so happens I owned the $285 call options in ANET going into today, but they expired today. So what that means, I paid 76 cents for them. So what that means is I had the right, but not the obligation, to buy 700 shares of ANET. I bought 7 contracts. Each contract is worth 100 shares of stock. So 7 contracts, that's 700. I had the right, but not the obligation, to buy 700 shares of ANET at $285 this morning, but it had to happen by today. If it didn't happen by today, my call options would have been worthless. They would have been zero. I would have lost 100% of my bet, which, going back to here, was about $500. But it did work out, and as you can see, ANET is worth $308 per share. Now, I didn't even catch the whole move. I sold these at 9:33 Eastern. That's about 3 minutes after the market opened this morning. I saw $300 a share. I was up nearly 2,000%. I took that shit and ran. Since the options were going to expire today, I didn't want to risk, it coming back on me and giving back those gains. But if you want to work out the math on this, you see $534 suddenly worth $10,490, or a realized profit loss of $9,955. Now, going back to this, we spent $50,000 in the simulator buying the stock, and we only made $6,400. But in the options market, I only spent $500 of my own money, but I ended up making $9,955. And you might ask, how is that possible? But if you do the math on it, it works out. Remember, once again, I had the right, but not the obligation, to buy 700 shares of ANET at $285 a share. And I sold that right at $300. So what's the math on that? 15, right? We made $15 per share. Now, we'll bust out our trusty calculator here. If you have $15 per share, that was the move that we made, 285 to 300, and I had the right to move $700. The math on that 10,500 or the proceeds that we got back, 10,490. So as you can see, the math works out the same. Options just allow you to buy a whole lot of stock that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, because you're using much less capital. Now, the downside of that is a lot of out of the money call options expire worthless. I'd say upwards of 90% of out of the money call options, especially shorter dated, like this one I bought on the 20th and it expired in 4 days. Most of these expire worthless. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a normal thing. A good options trader might have 5 or 10 of these in an entire year. You know what I mean? But this is why you play the game. This is why you trade, man. And especially this is why you trade. This is why you trade options. This is why I love trading. And this is why I want to share it with people, man, because I truly think it could change some people's lives. I talked to one guy who's a subscriber. His name's Devin. He's probably watching this video, but he hit me up and he obviously had like a passion to trade stocks. And a lot of people ask me like, where do you get started? Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? But he like took it upon himself to know how to get started and start reading about it. And he would ask me like real in-depth questions about stocks, and you could tell he really wanted to know. So I've been talking to him, and he's built an account from I think under $2,000 to now over $10,000, primarily trading options. Some of those are trades that I put him on. Some are trades that he just finds himself, and he's starting to build up that bankroll. Those are things that I think I can help other people do. Now, the only problem with that is we're dealing with real money. You know what I mean? And people can be touchy about real money, obviously. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, you want me to build out like some sort of platform or website to help you guys be able to spot opportunities in stocks. I'm not saying that you're going to make $1 million in a year or anything like that, but at the very least, you'll have a deeper, more insightful understanding of why stocks move, what makes them move, how to anticipate stock movement before it happens, and just be able to spot risks and opportunities in markets that the normal person on the street would not be able to see. So even if you don't quit your job full time to, trade or whatever, you'll still be able to look at the market each day and have an idea of what you're looking at, and kind of have a decent idea of where some low risk, high reward opportunities await. So if that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments, man. Let me know what you think about that. Drop a like on the video, and maybe I'll start looking into building that out. But I think there's like a lot of liability and shit. I can't be telling people what to do with their money, then they lose it, and then I'll fuck around and get sued or something. Can't do that. So I got to make sure I cover my ass on that sort of thing. But I just wanted to hop on here once again and show you guys the power of trading options. And like I said, I know I can explain it a little bit more in depth if I was to go a little more seriously with this concept. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Is that something you would be interested in? Is that something that you would subscribe to for a few dollars a month in order to find opportunities like this? Like what if we met 2 or 3 times a week? When we talked about stocks, we bounced ideas off each other, and I can sit there, answer questions, kind of give you guys advice. I've been trading for 4 or 5 years now, and I'm sure these types of videos will attract older people as well, people who have probably been through like the financial crisis in 2008, maybe the dot-com bubble of 2000, maybe even the market crash of 1987. And those people are going to look at a 27-year-old strapping young handsome man and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Listen, I get you, man. I get it. If you don't want to trust a young guy trading stocks, I totally understand. But in the times I've been trading the past 4 years, I haven't seen a true financial crisis, but I've been mentored by people that have traded for many, many years, traded for hedge funds, investment banks, who've been through things. And some of the environments that I've traded through and things I've seen have been just as bad, if not worse, than market crashes and financial crises. 2015, 2016 in the stock market, that shit was not easy at all. The indices, the S&P, the Qs, the Russell, the Russell I think did enter into a bear market. I think it was down like 23% or something like that. But individual stocks under the surface got fucking murdered. They got murdered, dude. Like many stocks went to zero, 70, 80%. The energy sector, I traded through that. I lost a lot of money. I've seen some shit. I've been involved in black swan events. Earlier this year, I lost like 20% of my net worth in an hour. I got caught in XIV. You guys know XIV? Maybe you don't. Anyway, this is conversation for a later day. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I can actually speak on these things now, after trading for 4 or 5 years and seeing some stuff, losing money, trading options, trading stocks, seeing all different types of market environments. I feel more comfortable giving you guys advice and trying to help you make money in the market, because it's not an easy thing. You're competing all the time against some of the smartest people in the world, and if you don't know what you're doing, you will lose your ass every single time. But if you want to be helped to not lose your ass, once again, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning into the video, and I'll catch you guys right back here next time, checking out the market and looking at stocks. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, just refresh it and give it one more chance. And as always, guys, I don't really have an outro.